Hey! This video, or any portion therefore, may not be reproduced or used in any manner whatsoever without the express written permission of the publisher, except for the use of brief quotations in a video review crediting the author. None of the contents in this guide or this video should be considered professional advice. It is merely for entertainment purposes only. Yeah. Today is the first day of the rest of your life. So, everybody, thank you once again for watching another episode of the Experiencing Rep podcast. Here we are again, second video episode. I'm so happy, and please follow me on social media. I'm working on upgrading every aspect of my life right now, and I'm so happy to be here and be able to document the journey. I hope that this video helps somebody out, and I really want it to resonate with the right people that need it the most. So, without any further ado, we're going to jump right in to what I'm going to say. So I'm going to start off with a quotation from a excerpt that I was reading. Become the guy who can sleep on the floor and in a 5-star hotel without any difference in how he feels. Become the guy who savors some rice and a buffet the same. Become the guy who can talk to an ugly girl with an equal curiosity as the pretty one. Become the guy who cares for a baby and holds the sword with the same hand. Become this man, and life will become magical everywhere you go. So honestly, reading that, it kind of makes me think of one thing. It just makes me think of charisma. Charisma as a person, and charisma and being charismatic as a man requires you to be detached from outcomes, and it requires you to be able to be very comfortable in your own skin, also while saying things that captivate the hearts and minds of the people you interact with. So when you think of somebody that's charismatic, or when you think of somebody that is important, what do you think of? You think of somebody that leaves a lasting mark on you. Someone that lingers in your mind. Somebody that's able to give you the mental stimulation that your brain desires. And honestly, so much is unknown about the human mind that it's kind of still a taboo topic. But one thing is for certain, is that if you can change your mental picture of yourself, then you can change your life. And somebody who is important, charismatic, high value, popular, whatever you want to say, is somebody who has a high mental image of themselves. And somebody that does these things that I just said in the video. The guy that's able to sleep on the floor and the luxury hotel, and there's no difference in how he feels. Excuse me. The guy who savors the ramen noodles, but also savors the Brazilian steak the same way. It's pretty much like being able to love the little things. If you can love the little things equally as you can love the big picture end goal, then you're going to be successful. Or success is going to be much easier for you. Hold the baby in one hand and then put the baby down and pick up the sword. Or hold the baby like this and you're holding the sword on the end in the same hand. So, yeah, I mean, you got that. You know, and then once you're able to cultivate this into your personality, then life is supposed to be, you know, magical. Life is supposed to be better. And I'll tell you it is, because, you know, I'm on a journey right now of, you know, becoming the best person I can be. And I'll tell you what, I said this last time, there's definitely levels. There's definitely phases, waves, you know, it comes in waves. Like, you have a 2-week stretch where you're slaying it, you know, where you're doing really well, and you come around and you're killing the game, and everything's going your way, and then, you know, something happens and it sets you back. It's just you know, it's part of the mindset. Mindset is grind set. It honestly reminds me of like the warrior quote. You know, like you'd rather be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Yeah, it's like you know, it's kind of like life's a garden, dig it. But, you know, we're all going to have to dig the garden of life, but while you're digging it, you know, while you're planting your garden, who do you want to be? Do you want to be the sub to life, or do you want to be the warrior that's able to, you know, is ready for battle? The hardened person. It is what it is. Alright, so moving on. Now I'm going to talk about a way that you can, a good foundation for bringing that kind of mentality into your life. So, like, a lot of anxiety is induced in this day and age, and I am one of those people that does get anxious at certain times. I think I've said this before, but one of the things that you can call upon, you can keep in your mind is a thing that's a Stoic quote that is God is nature. So for all of us, I feel like everybody has some kind of spiritual standing. If you don't, I think you're kind of a retard. But with that being said, this is one way that you can view it as the spiritual realm or God as nature. And another reason, let me just before I get into this, I do want to say that one of the reasons I think believing in some kind of spirituality aspect is because if you look at it on the spectrum of things, the ultra poor and the ultra rich both believe in a higher power. They both believe in an omniscient God of some sort. The bottom of the bottom and the very tip of the top level of society, level of people, both believe in something spiritually, at least from what I've seen. So, look at Andrew Tate. Andrew Tate talks about God all the time. Look at highly successful people. A lot of those people talk about God. And then, the bottom of the barrel, the ultra poor, the homeless, a lot of those things are like religiously based. Look at all these homeless shelters and stuff like this. They're all like giving them Bibles and stuff. That's what it is, And the reason I think this is because I think they need someone to submit to. Just living your life is a form of submission. Living life is a form of submission. Of itself. So for you to go through your life and be so conceited and have so much vanity that you don't ever want to submit to anybody, you're a jackass. Because once you become grounded enough with yourself, you realize that you're not shit. True wisdom is realizing that you don't know anything. True wisdom is realizing how little you actually know. The classic smart person mistake, I was literally thinking the same thing. I was thinking the same notion, this same idea like yesterday. The classic smart person mistake, we've all heard it. Maybe you haven't. I'm here to tell you it. Don't think you know everything. That is the classic smart person mistake. Thinking that you know everything. Because, to be quite frankly, you don't know shit. That's the thing. It's kind of like the same thing in society. You go to a beach town, you go to San Diego. You go to New York. Maybe not New York, but you go to these places that are on the water. A lot of those people are super chill there, super humble there. Why? Because they're next to the fucking ocean. The ocean is fucking scary, bro. You know what I mean? The ocean is the most humbling thing. This big, vast entity full of this liquid that you absolutely need it to survive, but you can't drink any of that water straight up because it's salty. And that water's full of stuff that's going to kill you. And if none of that stuff in there kills you, guess what? If you sink underneath that water, there's no oxygen. Your ass is going to drown. So it's very humbling. The water is very humbling, and I think that's part of why people, when they connect back to nature and to the water, is that it really humbles them and it grounds them and it makes them realize that, wow, God is nature. I'm not shit. So, to flow right into this quote, to watch the course of the stars as if you revolved with them, to keep constantly in mind how the elements alter into one another. Thoughts like this wash off the mud of life below. Every wave that comes into the shore and pulls back out, washes off some of the mental mud of life. Same thing with hiking. Why do you think hikers, people that go hiking, what's their favorite part? Getting up to the very top of the summit? Yeah, that's great. Yeah, that's the end destination. Yeah, that's fun. Sitting up there, seeing the beautiful view. That's great for 30 minutes that you're up there. Take your pictures, 30, 45 minutes, an hour, however long you sit up at the at the summit, right? At the top of the mountain, it's great. But then you realize that you got to come back down. And then that's when it hits you. What was the most fun part? The journey up. the journey of going up. The thought that you might see a mountain goat, or you'll run into other hikers, or you might see a snake, or you're going to have multiple little stops as you get higher and higher up the mountain to stop and see the view and see how far you've came. It's like that's a big part of like a lot of the anxiety that's plaguing young people's minds today. They can't stop long enough to enjoy the plateau of where they're at. They can't stop long enough to enjoy the thought of where they are. And if you can't just stop and enjoy where you are right now, you're never going to. So, the main thing that I wanted to talk about, the next thing that I want to talk about, sorry, I was running out, I was having camera problems. But, stay with me. Next thing I want to talk about will be the fool's dream. So with everything that I just talked about, being able to accept life as it is and understanding that God is nature and how to kind of ground yourself, now we're going to talk about the navigation of life. So you got to think. Still seas don't make skilled sailors. To navigate life, you have to think of your soul. You have to be the captain of your soul. You have to think of yourself as a ship. And you have to be the sole proprietor of where that goes. And when you do that, you really have to take full ownership. You have to take full ownership for everything that you do and everything that you say, and but the thing about it is, like, when you take full ownership of something, you don't. When you take full ownership, you don't filter yourself as much, because you're responsible, but you also filter yourself at the right times. Do you know what I mean? It's pretty much just being mature, essentially. But with that being said, let's go right into this. Life is a dream for the fool. a comedy for the rich, and a game for the wise. I'm going to read it again. Life is a dream for the fool, a comedy for the rich, and a game for the wise. What is it? You know, what is it about those highly successful people, those ultra rich people in life? You know, like what is it about those people that are so successful in life? What is it about them? Now, I'm not saying this is the end all be all, and I'm not saying that everybody can be a freaking Mark Cuban, a Andrew Tate, a Patrick Bet-David, Jeff Bezos. I'm not saying everybody can do that, because you can't. You gotta realize that too. But you also have to love your own journey enough to pursue your highest self. Everybody's highest self is different. So, you know, it is what it is. But what I mean by the quote I just said, you know, the fool's dream is about their ideal life without realizing that they can live it right now. The fool doesn't realize that they can actually live their life, live the life they want right in this moment, in this reality that they're actually in. You know, that's kind of step number one. Step number one is like realizing that it's yours for the taking. You know, and you would be surprised how many people actually, you know, actually limit themselves by believing that as well. You know, like people will understand this. They'll sit here and be like, oh, I could be doing so much better right now, but the market is just blah, 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 or blah, or blah, or I don't want to blah, or blah, blah, or the responsibility. It's like, bro, you're being a dumbass. You know? The rich laugh at the masses trying to slave their way into becoming rich. And to be honest, quite frankly, if you're gonna cap your own potential, then you don't have a rich mindset. Or if you're gonna be too lazy to even get up and try to hit those ideas or start that business or do that thing, like you're gonna be like you're a dumbass, you know? Like you're poor in the mind. You're not rich in the mind. The rich laugh at the people. You know, we're talking the rich here. We're talking the people that, you know, have a few million. Have this or that. You know, the doctors, the lawyers, the people that, you know, have achieved a substantial amount of material success. Now, on to the next. The wise. What about the wise? The wise realize that it's all a game, and you're the main character, the protagonist who has trainable attributes. You start at the bottom, and you have unlimited potential. So that's the thing, you know. You start off. You're born poor. Not everybody's born poor. Some people are born into wealth, but you're born at the bottom, and you have trainable attributes. You have a mind that you can train, and you have unlimited potential. I mean, it's not going to be easy, but you can do it. You can make that happen. It is a reality. And I mean, maybe, you know, one thing I've noticed is the game of chess. A lot of people say chess is a lot like life, is a good simulation for life, because every little thing you do is like setting up a pond, and you really have to play. You really have to live your life like you're playing a game. You have to set it up. You have to look at it like the Monopoly board. Don't judge yourself year to year. Look at yourself on a decade basis. I mean, yeah, you can judge yourself year to year, but I mean, every year you should be saying, okay, damn, I'm doing a little bit better than I was last year. I'm making a little bit more money. I'm making a little bit more money than I was last year. I've started a new hobby from last year. I'm smarter than I was last year. I've dogged more chicks than I did last year. I mean, you gotta look at it from a basis. Like, you gotta understand it's a marathon, not a sprint. And you should set goals for yourself. You should have goals in your mind. Like everyone says, write your goals down and everything. Yeah, you should write your goals down. And you should surround yourself with beauty. And you should have those goals in your mind. Now, not every single last one, but the ones that you really want to attain, you should have like, you'll remember those. It's funny. It's funny how you remember the stuff that you really are passionate about. And it's crazy, Another big thing that can kind of limit you in your life is you'll go out and you'll set an audacious goal. And your mind will totally fail you, and you'll lose confidence from that. Yeah, you'll lose confidence from that for sure. And it's kind of like a vicious cycle from there. You just kind of start spiraling down because like the mind is super powerful. Alright, one more thing that I want to talk about, and then I'm going to bail out of here. I want you guys to understand that you're going to have to spend money to get yourself to the next level. Some of the best advice you'll get is when you spend your money. When you spend money to seek counsel, when you spend money to gain knowledge, when you spend money to gain coaching, leadership, that stuff, if it doesn't have a price tag on it, it's probably not really worth a damn. I know people that have this like poverty mindset where they don't want to spend any money and they go around and they read everything that's free. I mean, that's good. Reading free stuff is good, but understand the stuff that's really gonna sling you into the next level. When you believe in yourself enough to go and actually spend some money on something and try and get some return on your investment, that's when you're in. That's when your balls deep. That's when you're 2 feet in the water. Like when you're actually going all in, going all out for it, Alright guys, this has been Experiencing Rhett. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of the podcast. I'll see you guys next time. I'm out.